and when I looked at it, it was like 129 million views. How is it that you're able to still play the same game, but to have fun doing it? I mean, every time I watch you stream for hours on end as well, you're smiling the whole time, sweating and smiling. How do you keep it up playing the same game for so long?
Yeah, so we actually have 3,400 videos, which is too many. Feels like
insanity.
I mean, there's a couple things. Number one, I just love the game. And that was something that I felt like to get into streaming, I really needed to like just love the game, because you see too often streamers get big on playing a game, but then they lose their interest in the game. But then that's the game that the people followed them for. And if they stream anything else, they lose. Yep. Right, exactly. And and then it's this whole like they just kind of hate it, but they have to do it, and it just gets awful. So when I was really thinking about getting into streaming and growing, whatever, I was like, I'm picking a game that I really love. And Diablo 2 is that game that I came back to for years and years. You know, I'd put it down, I'd pick it back up. I'd put it down. That and StarCraft. I would just like alternate those two and then throw some Dota in there. And I just like did that. So, you know, like just
weren't you a PoE streamer as well? Like in the beginning, weren't you a PoE streamer? I did a little PoE.
Yeah. I did a little bit there. I've probably got like 700-800 hours in Path of Exile, and which is nothing compared to.
Right? If I recall, you said at one point it stands for StarCraft in your name there?
Yeah, so I looked into your profile yesterday, and you actually had some speedrun records for StarCraft recently, from what I understand.
Yeah, I went back and did some mission records there.
That's pretty cool. I did not know that. StarCraft is one of those games that.
Just I went back, broke some more records.
Yeah, you know, why not? StarCraft is one of those games that I wish I was better at. But I love watching like Clem versus Cyril and any of the casters that like Winter SC is a guy that I watch a lot. Really fun, entertaining commentator as you watch these pros playing at 500, 600 actions per minute.
Yeah.
And I remember I had one game in StarCraft where it was 2v2, a buddy of mine, we were playing. And I was playing Protoss, and I was going like a blinker rush, and I say rush because it was like 10 minutes. It wasn't a rush, but we were so bad, you know, in silver or bronze.
Sure,
or
yeah.
But it was just amazing that my buddy got rushed. Both of them attacked him, and I'm sitting there making blink stalkers, and he gets wiped out. I tell him, "Come over, make your base in my base, and we'll still play together." And he ends up leaving because he's like, "Nah, we lost. It's fine." I end up winning that game. I took all my stalkers, went across the map, and I was blink microing, attacking. I actually won. Yeah. And like that was like the best experience. And I think that might even be the last 2v2 I ever played. Well, something like that. It was just like you got to end at a high note.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's a great game.
Oh, yeah. I love StarCraft. Love StarCraft 2. Both fantastic.
So, I mean, you gave a little background on where you started. Sorry, Pat. But I'm also curious at some point tonight if we can get into kind of where you're going. You know, for those of you that aren't aware, don't watch. Well, you should watch Mr. Llama. He's a fantastic content creator. So go out there and sub him if you aren't already. And you'll learn that he is he has some designs on the future as well. And I'd like you to talk a little bit about where you intend to go. I appreciate where you started, but where are you planning to go with things? What do you want to do within Diablo? There's a lot of stuff coming out this year. Path of Exile.
Yeah.
2, you got Diablo 4 that's supposed to have your favorite overhaul with itemization in April. So I would assume we'll see some of the content for some of those things. And then there's other games as well. I don't remember all the names, but it's supposed to be like a huge year for ARPGs.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because it is supposed to be a huge year for ARPGs. I'm still kind of maybe on the letdown bus a little from Diablo 4. Not that I like fully expected Diablo 4 to be the best game, because I got to see it, you know, a little bit more in its through the development phases, plus whatever they just showed everybody. And yeah, there was definitely a question of like, all right, if Diablo 4 ends up being fantastic, I'll shift into that. If not, we'll pop back to D2. And as the years went on and the development and seeing more and more, I kind of felt like I'm probably going to stick with Diablo 2. And so that's where we ended up. Going forward, it's tough to say. I don't think Diablo 4 is going to get enough itemization change. And, it's so hard because it's like there's so many issues that I personally have with the game. And then that just kind of, I think, may just not even be my taste, with it. It's definitely built for the future. It like the future generation, the modern ARPG gamer. And so it has bad itemization. And honestly, I'm scared that they won't even know how to actually fix it. One, they'd have to do a giant overhaul that would like erase all the current items that exist, which will be really hard. Like, how do you exactly do that? Destroy everything? It's really confusing. But two, there's other issues. There's the level scaling in it. There's the smaller things like the camera being so zoomed in. There's just the the annoyances of the battle pass and all the pieces of all this. And
it's funny you mentioned the camera angle. I play a lot of city builders and like real-time strategy games.
Yeah.
And that is forever an inherent camera angle. I have no idea why you can only get to a certain level of it.
Yeah.
And I think you're right that unfortunately a lot of game makers at this point have stuck to a certain formula.
Yeah.
And it didn't even feel like an evolution of Diablo as a series to me when I played it. And the only way I got in on it is I went to KFC and was able to play Diablo 4.
Yeah.
And I
That's
mean,
what I did. I ordered on KFC on the app, and I was just like, oh, I got a free code. So I played it, and I played it until I forced myself to play it until I maxed level. I think it was 20 at the time.
Yeah.
And I was not impressed at all, and I was really down because like I actually love the Diablo series. I played Diablo 2 for thousands of hours. I don't know how many, just thousands of hours. It was a game that I played in high school, and I would just play it all day long, and it was a great game.
Yeah.
And then Diablo 3 came out, and I actually really liked Diablo 3. Diablo 3 was evolutionary in that it just felt really good to play. It was a modern Diablo, and to me, I was like, okay, so I played a few thousand hours of Diablo 2 or 3. And then Diablo 4, it is not a terrible game.
It's just
but that's not how you want to phrase the next
that's the
generation.
problem.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know. Like Path of Exile is the game that I keep going back to as far as action RPGs are concerned because it's so in depth. They change so much. The developers are really in tune with what the players want in large, and they don't always get it right, and nobody ever will.
Yeah.
But they work with the community and they change things. Like they just recently, this most recent patch, Affliction, hands down the biggest change in anything they've ever done as far as like, I mean, they've done big patches in the past, but they like basically reworked every skill gem and they added in like a new ascendancy for every character. There's 3 different ones you can pick from, and there's just so many things that they've added and changed that it's just, I don't know that Diablo 4 can compete. And people keep saying that like, well, it's a brand new game. It's only a few hours or a few years or a year old or whatever. It's like, no. This company, they have 3 other series to learn from, and they're making the same mistakes that they made in the previous series that they fixed in that series of games. And then they're just repeating the same mistakes and just going, oh, well, it's a new game. It's like, no, I'm sorry. Learn from your mistake.